If there ever was a lesson that I learned from my revered Rebbe, Rabbi Yehuda Amital, it was to be honest. To be honest with the people around you, but to be honest with God as well. Not to say slogans that you yourself don't believe in. And I'd like to share a story in this regard that has to do with the Haftorah of this week's Parshat Noach. My revered Rebbe didn't celebrate his birthday. He also didn't celebrate the day he was liberated from the Holocaust. He only agreed to celebrate the day that he successfully arrived in Israel after the Holocaust. What I didn't know till this week was the following. During the party that his family made for that day, the second night of Hanukkah, he would sing a certain tune. Says Yashiv Reichner, his biographer, he heard the tune during the Holocaust from Vishnu to Hasidim, and he connected it to words in this week's Haftorah. And these are the words. Berega katon azavtich, for one small moment I left you, said God, uverachamim gdolim akaptzech, but with great mercy I'll bring you back together. Next pasuk, beshetzef ketzef, with fury. Histarti panai rega mimech, I hid my face for a moment from you. Uve chesed olam rechamtich, and with eternal kindness I will have mercy on you. Amargo alech Hashem, said you, the Redeemer God. Said Yashiv Reichner, that was the story of his life, or to be more precise, the story of the life of the Jewish people between 1939 to 1949. There was moments for many years during that time that we didn't feel that God is securing the Jewish people. People were butchered and slaughtered alive. And yet, if you take the perspective of all those years, you'll see that not only was there Hester upon him, namely God hid his face, but there was also Rachamim Gdolim, in which God brought us back to the land of Israel in almost 2,000 years that we weren't here. Said Yashiv Reichner, maybe that's the story of these past 2 weeks. There was a terrible Hester Panim on the Shabbos of Shmini Atzeret. 1,400 plus were killed. Tens were taken into captivity. Hundreds are wounded. You can't say about that day God was watching over the Jewish people, or there was Hester Panim. And yet, in those 2 weeks, look at the Chesed Olam. Look at the amazing mercy and kindness. The Jewish people who were not united prior to Shabbos Shmini Atzeret became united. The endless acts of kindness are overwhelming, both to the soldiers serving in the field, as well as to those that are not in the front. Indeed, if there's ever a moment that you see the perspective of 2 weeks, it's the moment that you go on to the link in the bottom of this YouTube, that you'll see Rav Tamir Granot, whose son was killed during that terrible day, singing this tune that basically says, yes, we had a terrible moment, a day of total Hester Panim. Hours upon hours where Jews were butchered and killed, and we haven't yet gotten out of it, maybe not even understood it and comprehended it enough for it to be part of our being. And yet, since then, looking at the full perspective, there's been amazing acts of kindness, of unity, and many more. Indeed, I hope and pray that as we get into this Shabbos Parshat Noach during a war, we'll be able to see that Hester Panim was just for a rega katon, as the Haftorah says, and we'll be able to see the Chesed Olam, the eternal kindness of God, for far longer.